Hey, welcome to Conversations with Cookeygam. I'm glad to have you on this other presentation. So, this is also for our undergraduate students, and today I'll be looking at the power of a 2-1, how to unlock your academic potential, and I'll be sharing some practical steps on how to move from average grades to excellent grades, from just getting your C's and D's and E's to getting A's and then sometimes bees. So the question would be, why am I speaking on the power of a 2-1? What happened to first class? Right? I think that's something you're going to ask. Uh, the personal reason is that I studied computer science and education and later on studied electrical electronics engineering. And in both degrees, I got 2-1. So I got second class upper, right? I believe that you should learn how to get a first class from somebody who got a first class. Not because I couldn't get it or not because I don't know how to do it, but because um, I think I compromised on some things and chased other things to the detriment of actually making it the first class. But of course, I did a very sharp 2-1. I'm talking 4 point and above. So I need to also point that out. So for a 2-1 degree, right, it's easier to get while still balancing many other things. If you have interest, you want to run a business, you want to do politics, you want to be very active in church and fellowship, you want to volunteer a lot, you want to do a lot of other things. It's very easy. I'll say it again, very easy to do that, to do all of that, or to do some of that and still get a 2-1. So that's why I actually chose to speak on the power of a 2-1. But I want to compare a 2-1 with some other degrees, right? It still has high regard by employers and postgraduate programs. There are many job opportunities where they say the minimum is a 2-1, right? So it means that yes, first class can apply, but also a 2-1. And also, it opens doors to several graduate roles. You can serve out of the country with it. You can get good um, entry positions with it. It has that good impact on your career, and it requires effort, which, how do I explain this? Yes, you still have to put in effort, but you just have to be consistent with it. Not. It's not all about the intensity you're across, right? But if you can't get the first class, please go for it. Please get it. Please get it. Fight for the grades, right? Put in the effort. Cut out some things that you can and should cut out, and focus enough to get the first class. I'm being very sincere here. I'm not trying to present myself as, like I said, this all perfect person, which is why I'm having this conversation. But learn to maintain balance, learn to be strategic with your learning, and we'll also be sharing some specific tips in this presentation, in this video, as to how you can actually get that 2-1 and go on to do other things. But for a first class, it requires you to have a lot of A's, which is usually 70 and above, 70% and above in most schools. Is the highest academic achievement. It also gives you very top advantage, strong advantage for top tier roles. It proves it's not just about the first class. It's about the fact that you mastered certain things, right? It's a show of excellence. I'm talking about those persons who truly get it, not those who get the first class with money or other means that are not legitimate or legal. Okay. Then there's also tutu. Well, tutu is acceptable in some quarters, but there are very many job opportunities that you won't be able to get with a tutu. That's the truth. Unless you have very strong connections. I mean, this is Nigeria. Or by the favor of God, because what God cannot do does not exist. So, but then it limits the options. So I don't encourage that. I don't encourage that. It's usually a sign of inconsistency or a sign of irregularity. Third class, nah, please don't do that. Right? It usually requires you to do much more extra, get additional certifications and qualifications. Sometimes you have to go do some other postgraduate before you do some other postgraduate, if you understand what I mean. So I don't think that's something anyone should strive for. The minimum benchmark you should set for yourself is a 2-2, and not just a 2-2 of 3.5. I'm talking about a 2-2 of 4.0 preferably, right? It's also something that you'll be confident and you also feel good when you have excellent results, okay? So a 2-1 affects more than grades. Is a proof of diligence. Is a proof that you were able to solve problems and find balance. It's It's something that gives you access to a lot of opportunities. For very many undergraduate scholarships, they require you to have a minimum of 3.5 and above. I'm going to do an entire video or presentation on scholarships. Watch out for that. Okay, but they require you to have a 3.5 and above. Postgraduate opportunities, especially when you convert it, do what we call West evaluation. If it's a second class upper and above, it looks better. Okay, and it also gives you that personal satisfaction. I mean, I'm one person who sometimes not sometimes, many times I just want to excel because it makes me feel good, right? I mean, like saying for myself, it's something about that inward intrinsic motivation, okay? And it's also something that is very achievable for very many of us. It's not just the geniuses. There are some persons who get first class with ease, maybe because of certain advantages they've had from secondary school or from their personal abilities or whatever. But second class upper, the 3.5 and above, 3.5 to 4.49 on a 5.0 scale, right? It's something that is very, very, very achievable. It just requires some strategies, requires consistency, and that is actually the purpose of this video, to share this. So one of the first things I want you to do is to assess yourself, right? There's this saying, man know thyself. Man know thyself. You should know where you are in terms of your academic performance, in terms of sometimes I'm talking to somebody in 200 level or in 300 level, and I ask, oh, how was your academic performance? And I say, oh, fine, fine. What's the GP? And they've not calculated it. Come on, to make progress, you need to first determine where am I now? Where am I now? That's a very key thing. Okay. Then you also need mindset shift. Do you believe that it's not possible for you to get a 2-1? There are people who have already concluded. It's better you believe that you will get a first class and you go for it and end up getting a 2-1 than to believe that you can't get it. That one you're already working against yourself. So what I'm saying is that you also need the mindset of possibility, a mindset that aims for the stars, that aims for the very best, which when it comes to academic grades or academic ranking are the A's, the first class, the best, the best. Okay. Start by evaluating your current habits. How do you study? Right? What study habits, study patterns work for you, and also have the room for growth. Have the room for growth. I've said in one of my other videos that we must become lifelong learners, always growing, always learning, becoming better. Right? Start with that honest evaluation. Identify the subjects or topics that consistently challenge you. I remember when, like I said, I studied electrical electronics engineering, but before that, for very many years up to the point when I left secondary school, I wanted to study medicine. That's a story for another day, right? So I didn't do further maths, I didn't do technical drawing, I didn't do a number of those courses. And knowing that I now needed them for engineering, I needed to do extra on them, collaborate with people who had those courses as the advantage to make up for it. What I'm simply saying is that identify the subjects that are challenges for you, and there are definitely strategies that you can put in place to get better at them. Use the self-awareness as the foundation for targeted improvement. Know areas where you need to improve on, and also believe that by putting in the skills, putting in the strategies, putting in the efforts, that you can and will get better. And please don't give up. I'm not saying that it's automatically going to change in one semester, but definitely you can start making a lot of progress in one semester. So I'm simply saying be resilient and also trust that with other things that I'm going to share in this video, you will definitely do better studying your academics. My next point is set SMART goals, where SMART is an acronym. I believe you should know what that means. Specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. That is the SMART. Set SMART goals. You shouldn't just go into a semester and you don't even know what you're aiming for. You should identify your courses, the ones that are 3 credit load courses, 4 credit load courses, 2 credit load courses, and predetermine what you want to get in each of those courses. Of course, the ones that have higher credit loads, you want to get better grades at them, get your A's. It's in all of my 4 credit load courses, there was just one that I had a B. Every other was an A. Was every other were A's, and even that one that I had a B was still painful to me, right? Because you must learn to major on the courses that are major and also perform excellently in them. Do you understand what I'm saying? So, set smart goals. Decide at the beginning of the semester, restart all your courses and put grades. I'm not saying you have to put A's in all of them. Please be realistic. Okay? Be realistic. So it means that there are some that you can say, oh, even if I get a B or a C, yeah, I can use an A here to make up for it and still fall within what I'm targeting as my target GP, as my target GP. You need objectives so that you're motivated, you know what you're working towards. And at the end of the semester, when results are out, you can also check and track how you performed compared to your goals. So to just emphasize briefly what the SMART means, your goals should be specific. Specific. Don't just say, "Oh, I want to do well this semester." What do you mean by well? Okay, it should be measurable. In fact, that's touching a lot of things: strategies, goals, achievements. If it's not measurable, you can't track progress. You can't know if you are truly growing. Okay, it should also be achievable. Don't set something that you yourself you don't even believe. You say yes, I will, but you are just laughing at yourself. Now, I'm simply saying it should be achievable. It should be something that you're growing. So if it's something maybe last session was not so good, you can expect that you do better this session. It might not be this all dramatic quantum leap. It is possible fully to have that quantum leap. But what I'm simply saying is that even if it's not that quantum leap, you should have goals that you can expect to achieve or to accomplish. It should also be relevant, right, with your priorities for that season, your priorities for that semester. Set time bound goals, especially when it comes to studies. Right, you should have time frames for it. If there's no time frame, then it's just a wish. It's just wishful thinking. You have to put time frames. You have to put time frames to it. Also on your mindset, right? Being self-aware, having actionable plans, having strategies that you can actually act on. You can actually act on. The next point is engage strategically with your course materials. Okay, learn to participate actively throughout the semester. Don't wait till it's exam time, just before exam, and then you're trying to cram a lot of things. That does not allow for retention, it does not allow for proper learning, and don't understand that the goal is not just to get good grades. You are in school to learn. In fact, every aspect of life beyond school, outside the walls of school, we should learn, right? So attend the lectures. It's also wisdom to identify the lectures that are actually really useful. I'm going to be sincere, right? There are some lectures that are not the best use of your time. You can spend that time in the library studying. You can spend that time doing a group study. You can spend that time learning from YouTube. I learned a lot in many of my courses from YouTube. Okay, attend practical sessions. But one of the major advantages that also lectures give to you is that because the lecturers are the ones that will also set the exams and also mark the exams, sometimes you can pick exam relevant points. You can get areas of concentration. You can get to know what the lecturer emphasizes or how the lecturer really just says, "This is how I want you guys to answer my question." Do you understand? Right? So attend lectures. One of the things that can help you identify the ones to attend and the ones that won't really be the best use of your time is conversation with senior colleagues. I'm going to come to speak more on that when I speak about networking, which is one of the points I have here. But for now, attend lectures. Also engage in active listening. If you are in the lecture hall and you are not listening, then what are you doing there? What are you doing there? Right? Listen actively. Summarize the notes. Ask questions. There's something where some lecturers, when they identify you that you are, a participating student, a serious student, then they expect you to do better in the exams. And it's so funny how sometimes if they expect you to do better, you do better. But if your lecturer see you as unserious, it might end up affecting your grades, right? That's the truth. So don't just be passive, trying to copy everything that you hear. That's not a good way to take notes. Okay. Still on your strategic engagement with course materials. Ensure that you're understanding what's being communicated. You can use tutorials. You can consult with your classmates, with scholars, with I want to believe yourself, you're also a scholar, but I'm simply saying be open to consultation to clarify doubts, to deepen understanding, so that you better um, follow on the course. Especially if you're studying courses that are tricky, don't wait till the end before you understand, because sometimes it's those initial topics that you will use to build on for other topics. Do you understand what I'm saying? So you want to start getting understanding as early as possible in the semester. Also, see your syllabus as a roadmap. Understand the topics, understand um, how you can actually earn grades. There are some schools that some electives can be a major boost to your GP. There's some other schools, some other institutions where it does not count so much. Okay, so you want to know how the syllabus, how the curriculum, really contributes to what you graduate with and how to prioritize it. Also, your study efforts should be based on what works for you. If ninth class does not work for you, please, it's not by force, right? If it's somebody who needs more of personal studies or somebody who will thrive more by group studies, just do that. Which is why the first point I started with was on self-awareness. Self-awareness. Also, they are what we call high impact areas. That's part of what I was speaking about briefly when I said that not all courses are equal. Okay, you should know where to focus your attention. There are some persons who there's a course they're struggling with and they are paying so much attention on it, putting on all of the effort to the detriment of some other courses where they could have easily gotten an A, easily gotten a B. What I'm simply saying is that you should be able to balance the impact, right? The high impact balance courses where you have relative ease with courses where you have difficulty, so that you don't just go focus on what is hard for you and end up failing the ones that you should have done much better. Also, as touching studies, as touching your course materials, there is what's called spaced repetition, where if you start studying early in the semester, you will have time at intervals to go over those materials again, which will help you to remember them better, right? So that you don't just resort to cramming. You should be able to review materials at intervals, increasing intervals. It helps retention. It's scientifically proven. Um, there are a lot of tools that you can use, but I'm not really going to emphasize that. Then master memory. And one of the things that, of course, you should be intentional about building is your memory, right? Your ability to recall. Because sometimes some exams don't test understanding; they're actually just testing recall, testing your ability to remember, right? So you should be very intentional about building your memorization, your use of mnemonics, your use of flashcards. How there are different power techniques on how to really be a to really have a good memory. Also, other things around memory includes exercise, feeding, rest. Please, all of it should be balanced. Should be balanced. Okay. At intervals, also try to remember the things you've done. One of the things that can help you to remember that is when you attempt questions, whether past questions or exercises or assignments. That process would help you to reinforce the memory pathways. You don't have to wait till it's on the day of exam before you are trying to remember those things. Okay. Also, explaining concepts to others. Please, this is a hack. The things you teach, you understand them better and you remember them better. So it can be something as don't be that student who is trying to hoard knowledge. Share, 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 teach. Okay, explain it to someone. It's actually going to be to your own benefit. To your own benefit. It helps you to get deeper and better understanding. So that is on memory and recall. The next point I would want to emphasize is on how to master focus and collaboration. Focus and collaboration. There's someone who not too long ago was having exams, and then he reached out to me about one business proposition, and I was like, "This is exam period. You should be focusing on exams. I don't get how you want to do that, right?" Well, what I'm simply saying is that sometimes we're distracted by too many things. Don't forget that your primary reason for being in school as a student is to study. That's why you literally called a student. As much as I'm all for volunteering, for engaging in politics, and I did all of that very actively while in school, right? But you should understand that studies is a priority. You shouldn't graduate and then look back and begin to have regrets that you could or you should have done better. It's better you have the excellent grades and then decide not to use it because of other opportunities that opens up. Okay. So I'm speaking about focus, learn to focus. In today's world, one of the major issues we're having with a lot of young persons is low attention span, especially with all of those short TikTok, short clips, short reels, which is part of why almost every content I'm doing here on YouTube, they are long content, 30 minutes, 20 minutes, 15 minutes. There are some that I will do even up to an hour because you have to be able to just listen for that length of time, especially when it's something valuable. If you're not able to pay that much attention as an investment, how will you learn? And not just for my content here on Conversations with Cookeygam, but I mean many other things you want to learn, right? As touching skills, as touching, you need to be able to sustain focus and attention for a lengthened period of time. Okay. Also, time your study. Ensure that you are focused on the studies. There's what's called the um, Pomodoro technique. What it simply means is that you have this season of intense study, maybe 15 minutes or 30 minutes. You're just studying, then you take a very short break, then you come back and also continue studying. Within that period of time, you put away your phone or anything that can be a distraction. Those focus blocks will really help you to maintain concentration and to do better. Instead of you to sit somewhere and you say you're studying for 3 hours, and what you end up covering is something that if you were focused, you could have covered in 1 hour. That's not a good use of your time. Okay. Also, join study groups. You should learn to collaborate, like I said, explain, and also listen to explanations. I remember then where there were some of those students, some of those my classmates, who had a skill in simplifying things. The way they would break down some concepts, you like, I see, because they learned it, they explained it to themselves in such a simple way so that they can remember it and they can communicate that to you. So work with study groups, but please, study groups should not be so large. 10, 15, 20 people, that's no longer a study group, that's a class, right? And it can sometimes be less productive. So sometimes keep it smaller, but keep it productive. Ensure that there are no distractions. You guys should not start gossiping or discussing movies, right? Keep it on focus, on points that is speaking about your studies. I've spoken about past questions. Like I said, it's not something I really appreciate about the Nigerian system, but for very many institutions, they're still repeating the same topics, repeating similar questions. The lecturers are using the same notes. So it means that past questions become those very valuable resources, right? That can help you to identify patterns, anticipate questions, find the areas that are usually commonly tested or often emphasized. Okay. And it also helps you to confirm if you have remembered certain formulas or remembered certain concepts. So please maximize past questions. Then I was usually this person who was always reaching out to senior colleagues, getting past questions and sharing it out for my classmates. It was also something that really, you know, gave me this beautiful relationship with quite a number of person. And that is a suggestion for someone. You can actually think about doing that. So what I'm saying is work with past questions. However, the way to also counter the effect of just we having a whole lot of things being repeated over the years is that you can stay up to date with journals, like I said, with online resources, to ensure that you are still up to date on what is the current trend or what are the new things in your area of study. Now, I can also speak about studies, good results, without talking about time management. Time management. You must learn to master your time. One of the major resources we have as young persons, I think it's our most important resource actually, is our time. Our time. Everyone has 24 hours, but relatively or comparatively, because we still have many years ahead, right? It means that we have a lot of time. And as much as you think you are busy in school, you would actually get busier if after school you now have work and family and all of the other responsibilities. So you must learn to discipline yourself in the use of your time even now. Work with a timetable, live by a schedule, prioritize your tasks. Not everything deserves your attention. Not everything deserves your presence. There are a lot of meetings that you don't have to show up for. Okay, so when I'm speaking about a schedule, which is why I said in one of my videos, learn to use your calendar app. You can put time blocks for different events, for lectures, for personal studies, for your personal fellowship, for all of those things to ensure that even for your breaks, you can even schedule time to watch movies, schedule time to do social media, so that once that time is up, that is that for then. If you do it intentionally, you will find that you will not waste excessive time. You will not just hold your phone and before you know 3 hours is gone. What? Right? You would have better use of your time. There's also what's called the SNR matrices, where we have tasks that some are urgent but not important. Those ones you shouldn't even bother doing them. Why some tasks are not urgent but important. You should start them early. You should keep making progress on them. Some tasks also are important. Okay, I've said not urgent but important. Some tasks also are important and urgent. So please, those should be priorities. But you should not always live in that fire brigade mode. Do you understand what I'm saying? Where you're always waiting till something is important and urgent. It's better that if it's not urgent but it's important, you start doing it early. Then the last ones are things that are, I think I've basically spoken about that. The ones that are urgent but not important. So please don't also do that. Urgent but not important. You can either delegate it or don't even bother doing it. That's speaking about the SNR tower. You can also read up more about that. Okay, that's just a brief summary. Also, you should have a structured approach. I think I can't emphasize that enough. Live a structured life. Put a structure to your life. Make the most of your time. Make the most of your time. Invest your time in the things that count and the things that matter to you. Okay. Also, please master your well-being. Focus on your well-being. You should balance especially when it comes to health. That is rest well, sleep well, have an environment that is safe, that is, that enhances productivity. Some of us might not realize, right? But sometimes just sitting up to study can help you understand better. It's funny but true, okay? Um, Also, finding that balance where I said you can schedule time to just have conversation with friends. It will help you to prevent burnout. What I'm just simply saying is that some of those things are also very important to your wellness. Eliminate distractions. There are some seasons where you should just put off the phone. It will help you maintain your sanity. There are sometimes you just stay off social media. There are times you should just find a quiet environment, maybe in your school, and take a walk, or just you shouldn't always be in the noise. You should always be in the noise. Also, please be very consistent. That is how you build habits through consistency. There's what's called the 1% daily improvement, and over time, the difference is just astronomically amazing. Okay, use the power of compounding or consistency over time. Prioritize rest. Rest. Don't be that student who you're trying to sleep just 2 hours a day or 4 hours a day. No, it's not healthy, right? You can still sleep around 5, 6, 7 hours. I don't encourage 8 hours, right? Or more than that. But you can still sleep around that and still stay healthy, still have time to do all of the things that you have to do, especially if you engage priority. Since we have time as a limited resource, use it on the things that matter most to you. I'll say that again. Time is a limited resource. So invest it on the things that matter most to you. Okay. The next thing is also balance your focus, right? It simply means that there are some times when, yes, you're going all out on studies, but some other times in the semester, because of some other engagements or things you have, you can also focus on that, but know that it's for a season. Now, the next thing I also want to talk about is harness academic support. Some of us have help available, but we don't realize it or we don't recognize it, and so we don't maximize it. You should be able to harness the support that's available. There are some schools that have very good guidance and counseling offices. Some schools have very good, work and learn systems. Some schools have good libraries, good laboratories. Certain resources that if you don't know of it, you can't use it. Okay, there are some schools that there are lecturers that are not just course advisors. They can serve as mentors. They can give you exposure, give you access to opportunities. They my point is this: identify those resources that are available to you and maximize them, use them. Okay. Sometimes in conversations, as much as I'm giving a lot of counsel here, sometimes in conversations, you are able to pinpoint what exactly is it that needs to be changed or corrected or done better and all of that. So what I'm simply saying is engage in such conversations with senior colleagues. One thing that really helped me while in school were my senior colleagues. Oh God. Is it access to opportunities in terms of scholarships? Is it sharing resources? Is it, whatever it is, my senior colleagues really helped me, and you really want to maximize that. Okay. Just to shout out to a few. Pastor GP, Sir Desmond, Sir Paco, um, Sir Nosa, in Victor Adepoju, a number of them, right? And I sincerely do appreciate them. I can't name all of them, but the truth is I had senior colleagues who were very helpful at touching my academics. Okay. Now consult lecturers. There are some lecturers that are accessible, and as you ask them questions, you can better understand, you can better get clarifications, you can better know what to focus on. Okay. Also use the support systems in accordance with your future goals, right? It's that thing where you need to know what you want and what you're going for. It would help you to better know what cancel, what questions to ask, what cancel to take and apply, and all of that. Also, there are systems to accelerate learning. One of which is what I mentioned as peer networks, where if you study together with some persons, it has been proven, right, that if all of the persons within your circle are excellent, performing academically so well, it would also reflect in your own results. Okay, so peer systems can be a system of support or a system to boost your effectivity. There are some persons who they will just motivate you because they sit down there to read. They're reading the next 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 hours straight, and you will become serious with your life if you study with such persons. So use library resources when they're available. Okay, join fellowships. One of the things that fellowships helped me with, right, is with accountability. We had this minimum 4.0 as the benchmark in my fellowship then, right? Don't please don't join a fellowship where because of church work, it will now make you fail. Now, please find an environment that understands that this is a school system and you can find that balance. Okay, you can also find other persons who are committed to studies and excellence. Okay, also support your learning with online platforms, like I said, with YouTube, with Coursera, with Khan, with Udemy. I learned a lot online, and I don't want to make some kind of statements, but sometimes I just feel like I should have paid my school fees. Okay, let me not do that. Let me not do that. So, I'll be bringing this to a close now. Okay, start your journey to excellence today. Begin to take actions on all of those things. Just choose one step or two steps out of the too many things I've said, and begin to put them to practice. Commit to consistency. Also, celebrate your progress. Celebrate your wins. Keep track of the fact that, oh, last semester you had a 4.0, and this semester you're doing a 4.3, and next semester you're doing a 4.7, and who knows, do the 5.0 consistently. I believe you can, and why not? Okay. But one thing that is key is track your progress. Just ensure you are growing, ensure you are learning, ensure you are getting better. Remember that a 2-1 is a powerful statement of dedication. It will give you access to a lot of opportunities. And it's also one of the ways that it shows that you made good use of your time while in school. It was that you invested it on things that were profitable. Okay. And finally, please connect with me. Reach out if you have questions. Drop your questions in the comment section. Subscribe to this YouTube channel, Conversations with Cookeygam. I appreciate your time and your attention. And please, if you have questions, don't hesitate to ask. Your feedback is very much welcome. You can also reach out via WhatsApp if it's something you don't want to ask publicly, or on LinkedIn. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Thank you. Thank you. Shalom. Shalom.